Felicity de Fombelle here from the Catholic Voice. I'm at the Carmelite Convent in Red Hill with the wonderful Sister Bernadette.
Thank you very much.
And we're talking about Sister Mary Agnes, the Mother Prioress here,
Yes.
who died last Tuesday.
That's correct.
We have been chatting about the life of Sister Mary Agnes and going over dates and lots of details. Sister Bernadette, you've been so generous with me in terms of taking me back. And what I've learned, it's a great story, a fascinating story about Sister Mary Agnes's life. She would have turned 92 in August.
That's correct.
So a full life. She was a Kiwi, one of 5 children, and at the age of about 22, she went to Melbourne with another lady to join the Carmel in Melbourne, didn't she?
Yes, that's right. So it was a very choppy voyage across the Tasman Sea, and I think the 2 girls were enthusiastic and have a bit of trepidation, I think, travelling so far away from home and then entering this great big monastery in Melbourne. It would have been a bit frightening, I think, except the fact that they were enthused for the fact that they felt that God was calling them to this life.
And I'll come back to that, but one thing you said to me earlier, Sister Bernadette, in our chat, was that Sister Mary Agnes had a great love for Saint Therese.
Oh, absolutely.
And she was like her best friend or her great pal.
Yes.
That's what you were saying.
Yes, that's absolutely true. Saint Therese has been an inspiration to Sister all her life. She almost knew the story of a soul by heart. Sister's love for Saint Therese encouraged her to get a subscription to the magazine.
It would arrive here in the mail each month, and of course the magazine was written in French.
So Sister would come to evening recreation and translate from the magazine straight to us and share with us all the wonderful stories of people's pilgrimages to the Lisieux Carmel and to the places where the relics would be visiting.
All the news.
Yes.
All the gossip.
All the current news of what's happening with Saint Therese and the relics, yes.
I've taken a few notes because sometimes you forget the dates. Sister Mary Agnes joined the convent then in Melbourne, the order, in 1950. She would have taken her first vows in 1952.
And then her perpetual vows in 1956.
The year that Melbourne hosted the Olympics.
Ah, yes.
I asked Sister Bernadette what life would have been like in the convent at the time. And there would have been, perhaps, would say, at least a dozen nuns.
Yeah.
What would life have been like for a young Sister Mary Agnes at the time?
The monastery in Melbourne was very austere. It was a very large building. There were open cloisters where the wind would whistle in and the bats from the local trees would come flying into and sometimes even into the chapel area. The sisters would have to, duck and hide from the bats. That's right, yes. And the life was quite hard. It was the physical labour in the garden. There was solitude. The sisters would do their sewing in their rooms, and
they weren't well fed.
Oh no, I think it was a very sparse diet, a vegetarian diet, and the meals were well spaced. I think they broke their fast early in the morning after Mass, and then would have their main meal of the day. Maybe boiled onions and a slice of bread, or a homegrown artichokes or something like that.
Sounds
not a terribly
desperate to me.
Not a terribly nourishing meal.
And that was done to offer, as a sacrifice and penance and.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
A different time.
Yeah, and some of the sisters have recalled that they would see a bench or a small narrow windowsill and think, oh my goodness, I could lie on that and have a sleep. They were sleep deprived, I'm sure.
And yet so much hard work.
And then getting up early to pray and praying late into the night also. and offering penance, physical penance, with their arms outstretched, praying the Our Fathers and Hail Marys.
Sister Mary Agnes made her way to Canberra with about 5 nuns in 1974.
That's right.
So that's when this daughter house was established.
That's right.
Here in Canberra. And Sister, was it Gertrude?
Yes.
Was the mother prioress here at the beginning?
Yes. And Sister Mary Agnes was her assistant right up until the Sister Gertrude's death in 1997. And then Sister Mary Agnes was appointed first as the superior of this monastery, and then at the general election, Sister was elected to be the prioress, and was the prioress for 22 years.
What an innings. A woman, a very intelligent woman, a fiercely intelligent woman,
Indeed.
with a great love of people,
Yes.
very keen to know people's stories,
Yes.
what was happening in people's families, a keen interest in politics, in current affairs,
That's right.
a keen sense of humour, a few
Indeed.
favourite TV programs.
Steptoe and Son, Keeping Up Appearances, Dad's Army, this sort of thing.
She had a good life.
She did have a good life, and she was a very loving and thoughtful and kind friend, and a faithful friend to very many, many people.
A great loss, and tremendous thanks to Sister Bernadette.
Felicity, thank you very much for asking. Yeah.
Spending time with me this morning to go over such a life, and yes, so many memories.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And our love from everyone at the Catholic Voice to you and the beautiful sisters here at the Carmel in Red Hill.
Thank you very much, Felicity. It's very gracious of you to spend this time and to ask about Sister's life, and to be able to make some acknowledgement of her in your wonderful Catholic Voice daily magazine, daily paper.
Thanks, Sister Bernadette. Finished.
Finished.
Can you edit that?
How was that?
So press the button.
Yeah, just the red button again.